Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is verb phrase 266. The verb phrase today is to eat crow. Yeah, you always wonder, why do people say to eat crow? Who wants to eat crow? All right, anyway. Somebody wants to a screenshot. Take a look at the board. Okay, let's get right into it. If someone says that a person eats crow or will have to eat crow, it means that person will have to admit that he or she was wrong and apologize. Of course, this would usually be very embarrassing or humiliating or humiliate one. To eat crow is more common in the US, and to eat humble pie is more common in British English, even though Americans sometimes say to eat humble pie too, though. So it's not unheard of in American English. Let's continue. The origin alludes to the idea that crow is a terrible tasting bird. Yeah, I know. We never heard of people eating crow. There is one story of the possible origin of this phrase. It comes from the Atlantic Constitution in 1888. So this was a newspaper, and this was their claim of the origin of the term to eat crow. So in 1888, they said this phrase came from this story. According to the story, an American soldier shot and killed a crow while hunting during the War of 1812. Yes, the U.S. was back at war with Britain again in 1812. However, at this time there was an armistice in place. So that's when there's a temporary stopping of fighting, and maybe they're talking about possible peace. So at the moment that this was happening, there was peace. So they weren't supposed to be killing each other at that time. Okay, let's continue. A British officer, a British officer who saw the American soldier kill the crow complimented him on his shot. He then asked if he could see his gun. Okay. After the soldier handed him the gun, basically, the British soldier turned the gun on the American soldier and accused him of trespassing. And forced him to take a bite of the crow as punishment. The British soldier gave the gun back to the American, which turned the gun on the British soldier and forced him to eat the rest of the crow. So I don't know if this British soldier was very smart. I don't know. He held the gun to the American and then handed it back. Okay, now you can go. And did he think the American was just going to walk away and not do anything? So of course, then he held the gun on the British soldier. Okay, now you eat the rest of the bird. Basically, this is the story, and they say this is where the phrase came from. All right, let's continue. However, some question the story because the phrase was not recorded. It wasn't really written down until the 1850s, and it was originally to eat boiled crow. So some people question whether this story was very accurate. Today sometimes we have fake news. Maybe we had some fake news back then, but who knows? Maybe it came from this story somehow. Okay, good. Let's continue. Sometimes the phrase is in use or starts to be in use, and it doesn't get recorded until sometime later. Of course, this is about 30 or 40 years. That's a bit of a long time, but you never know. Let's continue. And we have 3 examples. That is a wild claim. If you are wrong, you will have to eat crow. Meaning, if you're making this wild claim and you end up being wrong, you're going to look foolish. It's going to be embarrassing for you, and you'll have to admit that you were wrong. That political commentator had to admit his predictions were totally wrong, and he had to eat crow. Okay, it's another way we hear it. In the end, I was proven right. And those that mocked me, those that made fun of me, saying I was crazy for the things I was saying, had to eat crow, because in the end, there was proof that I was correct. So they're the ones that had to eat crow. Okay. Anyway, I hope you got it. I hope it was clear. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.